I had an amazing opportunity last week to speak to a group that was mixed between individuals at an assisted living facility who were elderly, I'm going to say probably 70 plus, and then some professionals who work in the healthcare industry. And I was very excited about going to do the presentation, and I have to be totally humble and honest with you that I almost blew an opportunity to learn from the elders. Hi, I'm David Essel. I was invited to come into this center and to speak about motivation in the new year and striving for a better life and all of these other kind of things. And I was really excited about doing it. I really was. And I got to the event, and as I was waiting to go on stage, or go to the front of the room, I should say, and start speaking, the director who brought me in asked me if I could wait like 10-15 minutes because there were some people that she really wanted to be there, and they were running late. And so I said, sure. And she said, if you want, you can walk around and talk to people. And I said, okay. So I stood in the back of the room, which is uncharacteristic for me, for about 10 minutes. Normally when I'm at an event, I go and immediately disperse amongst the people, and especially if I have any downtime. And I start to talk to them about, why they're there and what they hope to get out of it, for multiple reasons. One is to build a connection with the audience before I start speaking. And the other is to truly find out what they're there for so that I can hopefully fulfill their desires. But I held out in the back, and I'm sitting there looking around, and there's, of course, all these elderly people with walkers and wheelchairs and everything, and I honestly had this thought, and I'm going to just be brutally honest with you. It's like, what am I going to talk to them about individually? Now, I knew as a group I had tons to talk about, but I was sitting there thinking, like, what am I going to say? And I'm not proud of that thought because it froze me in the back of the room. And then finally, after waiting for several minutes, I said, what am I doing? Like, that's insane. What do you mean, what are you going to talk about? Talk about anything. And I broke out of this little slump that I was in, and I went and received the most amazing, amazing welcome and love from these people that I was sitting there thinking originally, what am I going to talk to them about? And I'll give you some examples. The very first gentleman I went up to, I introduced myself. I said, I'm David, and I'm here to speak. He goes, I know who you are. And I said, oh, well, it's very nice to meet you. And he paused, and he said, I've been waiting 3 weeks for this day. And it took me back, and I said, really? I said, tell me. And he goes, well, the first day your flyer went up was 3 weeks ago, and I made a decision that I needed to hear this information. I needed this year to be better than the last number of years that I've been in this facility. He said, I needed to make some changes. And he said, and every day I marked off when I was getting closer to coming here and you speak. And he said, today I was one of the first ones in the room, and he went on and on and on. And I'm sitting here going, my Lord, David, here you went and judged the elderly, like, what are you going to talk to them about? And you would have missed out on all of this love this guy was giving you. Have you done the same thing? I think a lot of us blow off the elderly in society. We're impatient behind them in a grocery store. We're thinking they're sitting there, would you please just make a decision and grab something off the shelf and get out of my way, right? I mean, let's just be honest. In traffic, we're behind someone who's an older driver, and we're highly impatient with them. The list can go on and on. As I went around the room, every one of them lit up and gave me so much love with their eyes. They could have been just sort of hanging out and waiting. And the minute I said hello to them, it was like, oh my Lord, I received so much love. I was able to give so much love. But I want to say this again. I almost blew it. I almost absolutely blew it. And as I went around the room, I had a chance, I met some of these. There was a woman who was 90 years old who said, oh my gosh, you've got to meet my kids. I've got my kids with me, and their kids are like 55, 60, and she's going, my kids, you've got to meet my kids. It was adorable. I mean, I had so much fun, but I'm going to say this again. I almost blew it. I had to get out of my own way. I had to get out of my comfort zone. Now, originally, if I was in a group of more mixed ages, I would have thought nothing about going around and starting walking. But isn't that interesting? Like, I'm pulling a judgment. And here I do this work on being less judgmental, and I was pulling a judgment. That's how human I can be. That's how easy it is to be human. And the presentation was so much fun. It was just great. They were all highly engaged and a wonderful audience. At the end, I took them through a meditation. And through the meditation, I brought them into this outrageously quiet space, and then we ended it, and questions and answers for about 20 minutes, and then we ended it. And then at the very end, before I left, some of the people came up to me. The gentleman who'd been waiting for 3 weeks came up, and he was just wonderful, and we had a chance to talk a little bit more. And then this woman came up she was the oldest one in the living facility. She was 101 and a half. It was adorable. She said, "No, I'm not 101. I'm 101 and a half." So, oops, sorry. She was so cute. And then she said, "Hey, you know when you did that meditation?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "I do that every day." I said, "Oh, that is so awesome. What do you do?" She goes, "Well, I just use 2 words and I immediately go there." I said, "What 2 words do you use?" And she goes, "I just tell myself, drop dead." She goes, "If you want to use it when you speak to other audiences, you can, and you don't even have to give me credit." Isn't that amazing? It was so awesome. So there was a woman from the facility standing next to her. I turned to her and I said, "You know, I don't think I'll use those words with this type of an audience." And we were all laughing. It was pretty cool. And then just before I left, I had a chance. This woman came up to me and she said, she was 93, and she goes, I graduated from the University of Florida with a psychology degree. Now that's 70-something years ago. And she goes, "I have to tell you, this brought back memories. All those psychological terms you were using and all the theories around psychology and grieving and growth and success and motivation," she said, "David, it brought me back to when I was a Gator at the University of Florida," which had to be 70-something years ago because she's 93, right? It was unbelievable. So the purpose of this message is, yes, we're human. Yes, we judge. But let's look to our elders for wisdom, for love, for words of encouragement. Let's look to our elders for signs. Let's look to our elders as a way to open our heart, our mind, and soul, and to connect with them on a much deeper level. In the grocery store, in traffic, at a bank. Any chance that you have to stare into the eyes of our elders, as I had a chance to stare into the eyes of over 40 of them when I introduced myself, every one of them gave me back more love than I could have ever imagined. And I hope to do the same myself in the future, and I hope you'll do the same as well. Please share this message with as many people as you can. I know that we just sort of discard the elderly oftentimes because they walk so slow and drive so erratically and all these other things, and yet they're just filled with so much love. If we were open to learning, we can. And don't forget to sign up at our YouTube account right here, Super Slowdown, so that every time we put out a new one, it goes directly to your YouTube account, okay? Have a fabulous day. David Essel, and if I can help you in any way whatsoever, the website, talkdavid.com. Bye-bye.